You are considered a snitch for calling the police to help your daughter? Listen to this intro and let's get right into this message. When God gives you that peace, you will rest in His security, His protection, His comfort, His love. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about how a father did not call the police for his daughter that was shot and his baby mother that died as a result of a gunshot wound to the head. And his 3-year-old daughter was dying in his arms, and he will not call the police because it was considered snitching. I have never heard something like that in my life. I have never heard something like that in my life. This gentleman, I had my ears to the ground. I was in these internet streets and finding out information and listening to some stories. And this one was like, it blew me away. There was a gentleman. He had just obtained partial custody for his daughter and from his baby mother, and he had just got visitations where the child was able to come to his house and stay over his house. And it was that weekend of the visitation, the first visitation. Well, the baby mother got there with the child, and as they were walking in, he lived in a projects. And when him living in this projects, she's walking in with the child, and I guess he's outside somewhere around there. And it was a pretty much high violence, high crime area, and somebody started to shoot. And it was, to my understanding, I think he said it was a Draco, and the baby mother sustained a fatal wound to the head, and the baby was also shot and wounded and also received, she was still alive. And he went in to explain that because there is a rule out there, or an oath, or allegiance, or something out there, that people are not to call the police for help, and it's considered snitching. And it being considered snitching, that if you call the police, that's snitching, and that goes against this code or this allegiance. And he went into detail that he's holding his daughter, and even down to the gang member that was out there while the shooting was taking place, that he was now shooting back at the person that was shooting, that shot the mother and the daughter. He's the most hardest gang member there is. He even called the police and EMS to help this child. He's actually on recording calling the police. And this father, he was commendable. He's a really good guy. Listening to him, he was commendable. But because there is thing on the streets that snitching is the worst thing that you can ever do, and he was in shock, but he was wrestling with himself that he was not going to call the police because there's this no snitching policy. And within his group, they were talking about that, what makes a snitch? What makes someone snitch or be a snitch? And I believe that what makes a person, and I agree with what the conversation was in this group, that what makes a snitch is somebody that is involved in a criminal case with you, and that you're possibly a co-defendant in this case, and you make a statement and you testify against your other co-defendant. That can be considered, I agree with what the lady said, that's considered snitching. Or giving out information to get yourself out of trouble is considered snitching. But it was hard to see, and it was really hard to see that this man was going to watch his 3-year-old daughter pass away after being shot and not call the police because of snitching. And I want to say, when you can pledge allegiance to something, to a code like this, you have so much street code within you, this street pledge, that you're willing to watch your own flesh and blood pass away because there's a no snitch policy out there. And that even the hardest person, the toughest person, the gang member, the gangster, knew enough to call for help, to help the child, and that this person did not have the thought to help his child. And the great thing was that he was very open to the fact that people in this group was like, you're wrong, bro, you wrong. How could you do something like that? You crazy. Why would you not do something like that? He was like, you know what? I accept that. I'm a messed up father. I accept that. If that's what's ingrained in your thought process, I had to put out a video like this. If that's what's ingrained in your thought process, that snitching is just literally because you're calling for help for your loved one, that's snitching. I'm sure that it's open up to speculation, it's open up to opinions and ideas. Maybe I just can't fathom that a person, what I can't fathom, this is what I can't fathom. I can't fathom that you will take this allegiance, this street allegiance, these street words, this street pledge so serious that you will let your flesh and blood pass away. And these words bring life. These words don't bring life but death. And here in the Bible, it brings, you cannot pledge for God that is a true living God, Jesus Christ, who gives life and not death. This reminds me of Abraham and Isaac, where he was willing to offer up his son as a living sacrifice, to pledge his allegiance to God, to show his trust for God. And this person was willing to offer his child as a sacrifice to a street pledge. And I don't come at this as being derogatory or being disrespectful, but not understanding that if this is happening, it needs to be talked about. It needs to be addressed. Light needs to be shed on this. So I decided to come and talk about this and bring awareness that your family needs help. Get your family help. So I point you to the Bible verse that we're going to read. It's Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. Don't be afraid of those who want to kill your body. They cannot touch your soul. Fear only God, who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Call for help. God bless you, and God bless your family.